Here with Dylan Owens to preview the 2022-23 Concordia shooting sports season as we record this a little over a week or so from the first official competition of the season. Your first time leading this program into a competition, but I think you maybe knew Coach Scott Mignot in your connections through the shooting sports world, and probably had an idea of kind of what was going on at Concordia, but what excited you about the opportunity to be the head coach here?
So when I left my previous job, the goal was collegiate head coaching. And actually Scott was the one who told me that I should really consider it. And of course the events that happened and everything. And so I was looking at a lot of colleges that were trying to start teams. And then when this position became available, I had a lot of people call me, both former athletes on the team and other head coaches, former head coaches at other institutions, told me I should really consider this place. And so I reached out, and as soon as I got with Angela and Devin and talked to them and felt their passion for the athletics at this campus, I wanted to be here. So excited to be here, and then knowing that the team is growing and that the school really supports shooting sports makes it a lot easier to to come out and be a part of it.
Well, it's maybe a unique situation to walk into, but like you said, a lot of good things in place. How have you kind of approached replacing Scott and just trying to build upon what has been done the last few years?
So last summer, Scott and I had a long conversation about the future of clay target shooting in general, but also at the collegiate level. And so we agreed that the coaching needs to start evolving a little bit more towards basically how other sports are coached. And so that's where I'm kind of leaning more towards as far as the way that coaching is going. Much more goal-oriented than score-oriented, so had all the athletes set goals, and now my job is to help them achieve the goals. So.
I wanted to give people a little background on you. What is it about the sport that made you gravitate towards it, and how did you develop a passion for coaching shooting?
I would say my passion for coaching started probably long before my passion for shooting did. I tend to be kind of obsessive about anything that I'm doing, and so as soon as I start something new, I have to know everything there is to know about it and study it. Shooting sports is one of those things that's still growing, so there's new information still kind of coming out. People are learning new techniques, and so as much as I can absorb with that, I try to do. Getting into the sport, I didn't start until my junior year of high school. My high school started a team, and I just showed up the first day to try it out, broke one clay target, and it was what I wanted to do. And so from there on, trained really hard. Along with my grandfather, we built a range for my high school and another high school to practice at, and then went to college for it. And when I was in college, when I realized I wanted to always be in the industry, and so I've fought really hard to make sure I stay in the industry, and that's led now to college coaching.
And you're from Tennessee. What have you thought of Nebraska so far?
I actually really enjoyed out here. I'm from the west side of the state, close to Memphis, so terrain's actually not super different. Heat's a little different. We have a lot more humidity in Tennessee, but a lot less, I would say, heavier winds than are out here. But besides that, it's been pretty nice. I've enjoyed it.
And by now, certainly you've had a chance to check out Oak Creek Sporting Club in Brainerd. A couple practices already there as we record this, but what were kind of your thoughts when you first got a chance to check it out?
I actually really enjoyed Oak Creek. I actually got to meet Terry last spring whenever I come out and interviewed. And then actually over the summer I trained out there for some of my own personal shooting that I do during the summers. Phenomenal targets. Terry is really dedicated, I think, to the school and the team's growth. And so anything that we need to do as far as setting targets, changing stuff, I just say, hey, can we do this? And he goes, yep, let's get it done. And so having that kind of support from a range is really, really nice. Excited to be out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you're still learning your team. What have been some of your impressions from practice and conversations you've had so far with them?
I've started to grow, started to learn them more. I did private meetings with everyone on the team to kind of get more of a personal connection with them. And some of them I've noticed that show a lot of potential to be great leaders, and I'm excited to help them kind of push towards that. A few comics on the team, which is great. Keep morale up. We've had some good shooting already in the past 2 days of practice. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've been able to kind of familiarize yourself with what where this program has been recently. What's kind of your vision for where things could go the next few years in terms of maybe not just level of achievement, but what you want your athletes, how you want them to act and look and all of those things related to the program?
Well, the positive with that is, as far as I would say the standard on the team, previously Scott held them to a really high standard on attitude and the way they carry themselves. And so thankfully I just have to continue that. I don't have to create new habits with that. And I'm very happy to be a part of a team that really holds themselves to that standard. As far as achievements go, sporting clays and HOA I think are the two areas that we're going to need to grow the most in, and the high overall event heavily depends on sporting clays. So the goal would be to bring in more sporting clay shooters through recruitment, more athletes who from high school have shot all the disciplines, not just one or two of them, while also still bringing in more local athletes who may have only shot one discipline in high school but are willing to learn the others.
You talked about recruiting. What are kind of your major selling points in terms of what Concordia has to offer and this program can offer?
Oh man, so many. The first thing that when I start talking to recruits, if they kind of have some doubts, I say come visit campus, because once you visit this campus, you realize, okay, this is where I want to be. That's honestly a huge selling point for me, and the reason why I was out here is when I visited. The school really supports the team. Not all schools do. We have our own training room on campus. We have safes on campus for the athletes. That's huge. So a lot of schools don't have that. As far as, let's say, academics, I'll say touring is completely different than other schools that I've visited. The way the tour schedules are set up, it's a much more personalized visit. So if you say you want to be a biology major, they get you in front of biology professors. You get to meet the people that you're going to be learning under, along with meeting with me if you were for shooting sports, or meeting with another coach if you were for a different team. Then after that, just the programs that are offered here are phenomenal. We have a pre-med program that's highly successful, and in shooting sports, the next few next few years of athletes coming up are really interested in pre-med programs. So that's really good to know. Having an ag business program is major in shooting sports, because a lot of people either come from farming communities or want to be farmers, and so having that, we have 3 or 4 already on the team that are really interested in ag business. So that was a great thing to kind of come into. The potential to graduate with an undergrad and then go get a master's or a doctorate is, in my opinion, really big here. Not only through Concordia schools, but also I think Concordia is respected enough that helps get them into other programs. There's so many selling points that it makes it really easy, honestly, to talk with potential athletes to come in, really ease a lot of their parents' worries.
Sure. I wanted to mention your graduate assistant, Wyatt Hambley, who's been in the program. He kind of knows everything with the lay of the land and Concordia shooting sports. How has his knowledge too maybe helped smoothen things for you in this position?
Yes, it is. Thank the Lord for Wyatt.
Yeah.
He's worked with me throughout the summer, and definitely since school has gotten back in. If I have a question on how something used to be done, or if I have an idea of something that hasn't been done before, he's really good at saying, let's do it, or hey, I have some questions about this, and really kind of making me be able to explain my reasoning, which is a phenomenal thing, both for both of us. His goals, I believe, long term are to get into coaching, so he wants to learn a lot from my perspective on coaching, but it's definitely made it a lot easier transition where it's, hey, Wyatt, I got a question, or hey, can you meet me so we can discuss these things, or from getting the vans and the trailer to leave for shoots to, hey, how long is this drive to this event type thing. He knows it all, so it's been really good to have him.
And Wyatt just seems like the perfect name for a shooting sports athlete. But just looking at this season, I know you want to be at your best when you have nationals in the spring. But what do you? Is it too soon to think about what goals are? What are some reasonable goals for what can be done this coming season?
I would say my main focus is one, to do good at conference. That's in North Platte. But the other main goals for me is we have 3 competitions in the fall that are qualifiers for the national championship in the spring. So we are shooting with a new organization that requires qualifying scores to be averaged for the national championship. So with that, my goal is to get everyone on the team qualified. That's not going to be easy. There are some gaps that I think we're going to have to work with, but I think there are some people who are very comfortable with those and can easily achieve them. The goal is to get everyone qualified. If I can do that, to me, I have a successful year. So.